Evening, everybody. Glad you're here. And for those who see this video in the future, please accept our respects. We appreciate you coming and listening to this wonderful transcendental narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are now on the 10th canto, and we're on chapter 36. And this is the killing of the bull demon Arista. So it should be some fun. And as usual, if you don't mind, I'd like to start out by offering my respects to my spiritual master. Chant along with me if you know it. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devim Gaurivani Paricharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Yadesha Tarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now we'll chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam, the immortal nectar. All the great pastimes of the avatars who descended to this earth to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. You'll see one of the miscreants gets it on this one. So it should be fun. I'll start reading and I'll do the first 10, and there's 40 some odd verses here, so we've got just enough for everybody to do about 10. Okay? Maybe I'll do a few less. Let's do a few less. Maybe Bob would like to read too. Let's see. So I'll start out with text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, the demon Arista then came to the cowherd village. Appearing in the form of a bull with a large hump, he made the earth tremble as he tore it apart with his hooves. Aristasura bellowed very harshly and pawed the ground. With his tail raised and his eyes glaring, he began to tear up the embankments with the tips of his horns, every now and then passing a little stool in urine. My dear king, clouds hovered about sharp-horned Aristasura's hump, mistaking it for a mountain. And when the cowherd men, the ladies, caught sight of the demon, they were struck with terror. Indeed, the strident reverberation of his roar so frightened the pregnant cows and women that they lost their fetuses in miscarriages. The domestic animals fled the pasture in fear, O king, and all of the inhabitants rushed to the Lord Govinda for shelter, crying, Krishna, Krishna. When the Supreme Lord saw the cowherd community distraught and fleeing in fear, he calmed them, saying, don't be afraid. Then he called out to the bull demon as follows, you fool! What do you think you're doing, you wicked rascal, frightening the cowherd community and their animals, when I am here just to punish corrupt miscreants like you? Now, who would like to pick up there? That's text 8.
I will.
Okay.
Okay. Having spoken these words, the infallible Lord Hari slapped his arms with his palms, further angering Arista with a loud sound. The Lord then casually threw his mighty serpentine arm over the shoulder of a friend and stood facing the demon. Thus provoked, Arista pawed the ground with one of his hoofs, and then, with the clouds hovering around his upraised tail, furiously charged Krishna. Pointing the tips of his horns straight ahead and glaring menacingly at Lord Krishna from the corner of his bloodshot eyes, Arista rushed toward him at full speed, like a thunderbolt hurled by Indra. The Supreme Lord Krishna seized Aristasura by the horns and threw him back 18 steps, just as an elephant might do when fighting a rival elephant. Thus repulsed by the Supreme Lord, the bull demon got up, breathing hard and sweating all over his body, again charged him in a mindless rage. As Arista attacked Lord Krishna, seized him by the horns, and knocked him to the ground with his foot, the Lord then thrashed him as if he were a wet cloth, and finally yanked out one of the demon's horns and struck him until he lay prostrate. Vomiting blood and profusely excreting stool and urine, kicking his legs and rolling his eyes about, Aristasura thus went painfully to the abode of death. The demigods honored Lord Krishna by scattering flowers upon him. Having thus killed the bull demon Arista, He who was a festival for the Gopi's eyes entered the coward village with Balaram. After Arista had been killed by Krishna, who works wonderfully, Narada Muni, who went to speak to King Kamsa, the powerful sage of godly wisdom, addressed the king as follows. He said, but over to you, Raghavati.
Okay, I'll read a couple. There may be there's a lot. Purport, isn't it? 17. Narada told Kamsa, Yasoda's child was actually a daughter, and Krishna is the son of Devaki. Also, Rama is the son of Rohini. Out of fear, Vasudeva entrusted Krishna and Balaram to his friend Nanda Maharaj. And it is these two boys who have killed your men. Upon hearing the matter of the Bhojas, became furious and lost control of his senses. He picked up a sharp sword to kill Vasudeva. But Narada restrained Kamsa by reminding him that it was the two sons of Vasudeva who would cause his death. Kamsa then had Vasudeva and his wife shackled in iron chains. Again. After Narada left, King Kamsa summoned Keshi and ordered him, go kill Rama and Krishna. The king of the Bhojas next called for his ministers, headed by Mustika, Chanura, Shala, and Toshala, and also for his elephant keeper. The king addressed them as follows. My dear heroic Chanura and Mustika, please hear this. Rama and Krishna, the sons of Anakandubi, Vasudeva, are living in Nanda's cowherd village. It has been predicted that these two boys will be the cause of my death. They are brought here. When they are brought here, kill them on the pretext of engaging them in a wrestling match. Erect a wrestling ring with many surrounding viewing stands and bring all the residents of the city and the outlying districts to see the open competition. You, elephant keeper, my good man, should position the elephant Kuvalayapida at the entrance of the wrestling arena and have him kill my two enemies. That's probably about mine. So I pass the baton over to Guyana.
Would you care to read? Are you there? You were?
Yes.
There you are. Yeah, I think it's text 26, right?
Yeah. All right. So I commence the bow sacrifice on the Chaturdasi day in accordance with the relevant Vedic injunction. In ritual slaughtered, offer the appropriate kind of animal to the magnanimous Lord Shiva. Having thus commanded his minister, Kamsa next called for Akrura, the most eminent of the Yadus. Kamsa knew the art of securing personal advantage, and thus he took Akrura's hand in his own and spoke to him as follows. My dear Akrura, most charitable one, please do me a friendly favor out of respect. Among the Bhojas and was this part Bornes, Brines was the word?
Vrishnis.
Vishnu. There is no one else as kind to us as you. Gentle Akura, you always carry out your duties soberly, and therefore I am depending on you, just as powerful Indra took shelter of Lord Vishnu to achieve his goal. Please go to Nanda's village where the two sons of Anakandubi are living, and without delay bring them here on this chariot. The demigod who are under the protection of Vishnu have sent these two boys as my debt. Bring them here, and also have Nanda and the other cowherd men come and gift of tribute. After you bring Krishna and Balaram, I will have them killed by my elephant, who is as powerful as death itself. And if by chance they escape from him, I will have them killed by my wrestlers, who are as strong as lightning. When these two have been killed, I will kill Vasudeva and all their lamenting relatives and Vrishnis, Bhujas, and Darsahas. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Very good. Bhavananda, would you like to read a few?
With some of the words, but
No
I'll
problem.
give it a shot.
No problem.
I will also kill my old father,
Ugrasena.
Ugrasena, who is greedy for my kingdom, and I will kill his brother, Devaka, and all my other enemies as well. Then, my friend, this earth will be free of thorns. My elder relative,
Jarasandha.
Jarsanda, and my dear friend, Javida, are solid well-wishers of mine, as are Sambara, Naraka, and
Bana.
I will use them all. I will use them all to kill off those kings who are allied with the demigods, and then I will rule the world. Now that you understand my intention, please go at once and bring Krishna and Balaram to watch the bow sacrifice and see the opulence of the Yadu's capital. Sri Akura said, O king, you have expertly devised a process to free yourself of misfortune. Still, one should be equal in success and failure, since it is certainly destiny that produces the results of one's work. An ordinary person is determined to act on his desires, even when fate prevents their fulfillment. Therefore, he encounters both happiness and distress. Yet even though such is the case, I will execute your order. Sukadev Goswami said, having thus instructed Akura, King Kamsa dismissed his ministers and retired to his quarters, and Akura returned home.
Very good. So that's the end of that chapter, and we're going to just go over this a little bit tonight. We'll have a short class this evening. We're not going to do another class tonight. We'll just stick with this one. These are kind of short stories of the killings of demons, and we've seen a lot of that already. We saw, where Krishna killed Putana, early on when she came when he was a baby to offer her breast smeared with poison. And we've seen Trinavarta try to take Krishna away as a whirlwind demon, and Krishna choked him to death as a baby. And then, of course, as a boy, we saw that he killed Indra's pride by lifting Govardhan Hill with one finger, and Indra finally submitted and offered the most beautiful prayers. Did the same thing with Brahma, and he stole the cowherd boys. Brahma stole the cowherd boys and the cows. And it goes on and on and on. In the Talavan forest, Denakasura was taken and swung around, and Talavan fruit was knocked down, and the boys enjoyed the fruit. So every day, literally every day that Krishna was on the planet, he literally killed demons. And he also delivered the devotees. And his great happiness is to serve the devotees. That's what Krishna wants to do. He wants to fulfill his friend's desire. We just read that in the last chapter where it said that Krishna was eager to fulfill his friend's desire. So in many cases, they walk into the snake demon who's got his mouth open, and they're not worried about it because they know Krishna will take care of him. Kali's serpent, for an example, they came there to the river. They were not worried about it, but the poison was so strong from the Kali's serpent that it would kill the birds that would fly over, and all of the wildlife and all of the things that would come to this beautiful lake in the Jamuna River would die. And so the cowherd boys also died. And then when Krishna got there, he brought them back to life. So there's so many wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stories. Matter of fact, there's a chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam called Wonderful Krishna. And it's really very good because it recaps a lot of this information that we're going over here. But in this story, if there's no questions, I'll just kind of recap this and give you a little bit of my perspective. Does anybody have any questions about this one? You want to stop me now, or do you want to just kind of chime in as we go? Okay. So here, I'm sorry?
I was just wondering if we're going to be talking about these wonderful, this conversation that happened between the gopis and Krishna after Krishna had killed the bull demon.
Where's that at? The next chapter?
That no, that long purport that we've got in text 16, because I
Maybe we can do that.
think we should read that because it's a wonderful conversation
Okay.
after he kills the bull.
Okay. Well, we'll go back to text 16 and we'll look at that purport for sure.
Thank you.
So Akrura is a devotee, and he's in the midst of all these demons, and he's always carries out his orders. So the Kamsa, the demon Kamsa, king demon Kamsa, sent him to bring Balaram and Krishna. Now, why did all this happen? Do you know? Because Narada had stirred it up again. So Narada, okay. So in the very beginning, all right, remember in this story of Vasudeva and Devaki, they're on the chariot. They got this massive procession of chariots and elephants and maid servants, hundreds of maid servants, all these cows decorated their procession from the wedding of Devaki and Vasudeva. Devaki's Kamsa's sister. So Vasudeva is going to be the brother-in-law of Kamsa. So at this point, hear a voice from the sky, right? And so the voice from the sky comes, and then he says, "You fool! Don't you know that the eighth son, Krishna, will kill you? Do you not know that?" So that stirred up the mess. But later on, Narada came after they were jailed because he threw them in jail, and one child after the next, were being born. But Narada came and told him and stirred up some mess. And so the bottom line is that he decided to kill all the children within 10 days or more, a little more or less, who were born at the same time with Krishna, to exterminate the children that could be possibly Krishna and kill him. So he was surprised to hear, because Narada had told him that. And so he was surprised to hear Narada come back and go, "Hey, Balaram and Krishna are actually the sons of Vasudeva, and they're going to kill. They're your death. They're your death personified." It says it here in the verse that we just read. So he devised a way to trick them, he thought, but this is all God's will, trick them to come to the wrestling arena. And he had devised a plan to have his elephant, which is strong as lightning, and no one could resist, to kill him. And if he couldn't do it, then Mustika and Charana would kill him, who were the great wrestlers at that time and were undefeated. So this is going to manifest into this wonderful story as we go along, and we're going to see what happens to both the wrestlers and everybody else in just a little bit. But if we go back and we read this last few chapters, it says, this is the mind of a demon. So he says, after you bring Krishna, this is text 32, after you bring Krishna and Balaram, I will have them killed by my elephant, who is as powerful as death. And if by chance they escape from him, I will have them killed by my wrestlers, who are strong as lightning. And when these two have been killed, I will then kill Vasudeva and all of their lamenting relatives, including all of the Vrishnis, the Bhojas, and the Dasaras. So, and then he was planning on killing his old father, Ugrasena, who was the king, the rightful king. So this demon had actually imprisoned his father and took over his kingdom, and Ugrasena was dethroned by his own son, by Kamsa. So in this situation, he said, not only will I kill my old father, who is greedy for my kingdom. Actually, it was the opposite. It wasn't Ugrasena greedy, it was Kamsa greedy. I will also kill his brother Devaka and all my other enemies as well. And then this earth will be free of thorns, and I will rule over it. So this is the mindset of the demoniac individual. Okay, so if we turn just for a moment to the chapter of the divine and the demoniac in the Bhagavad Gita, we can see exactly how Krishna has defined what a demon is. So in case you don't know what a demon is, go to text 4 in that chapter. Let's see, what chapter is that? That's chapter 16. Text 4, it says, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of the demoniac nature, O son of Prita. When you see people who are carrying pride, you know they're going to fall. Pride comes before the fall. We know that old adage, right? So they're going to fall. So Kamsa's going to fall. And so are all these prideful demons who think they're very powerful. They can defeat Krishna, and they've come to kill him. And each time they are proven wrong. Krishna takes care of them. So if you ever meet anybody who has arrogance or conceit, you should move away from those persons because that is a demoniac quality. Harshness and ignorance. These are qualities that belong to the demoniac nature. It's upon us as human beings to understand the first actual I guess you might call it a purport of the Vedas, and that's a Tato Brahma Jigasa. What that means is you should know yourself. You should know God. You should know what your purpose is here. You should understand how to get there. You should know these rules, these regulations that we find in the Shastra. And one should try to follow those rules and regulations because by doing that, they're gradually elevated. So let me read on. It says the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, where the demoniac qualities make for bondage. And this is perpetual bondage. We can lock ourselves up and throw away the key if we so desire. Now, O son of Partha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is divine and one is demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that the world is unreal, has no foundation, no God in control. There's no God. They say that the whole world is simply produced of sex desire and has no cause, other than lust. Because these are the glasses they're wearing. They see everything through those colored glasses. They don't understand. They don't see God. God doesn't reveal himself to the ignorant and who are covered by the three modes of material nature. So it says, following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost in themselves and have no intelligence, they engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. And now we look around ourselves and we see that there's big nuclear powers and they want your land and they want your money and they want your children and they want this and they want all the wealth and they want to be in control. They want absolute power. Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when we see that people have absolute power, many times if they don't have a higher intelligence or voice educating them on these issues here, they use it for their own purposes in an attempt to become God. Literally, they believe that to gratify their senses is the only mission or the prime mission of humanity. And it's a necessity for human civilization. Thus, their desires and their anxiety is immeasurable. They have immeasurable desires, bound by a network of hundreds and thousands of desires. And absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by legal means for sense gratification. And now this is the point I want you to hear, because this goes on with text 34 in the chapter we're currently reading. It says, once I've killed all of Vasudeva, he's talking about killing his sister and his brother-in-law here. He's talking about killing their whole dynasty, the Bhojas, the Vrishnis, and Dasaras. And then he wants to kill his own father. And then he's going to kill his brother. So he says in this one verse in the chapter, in the Divine and Demoniac, text 13 to 15, the demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. More and more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And all my other enemies will also be killed. Can you see this in Kamsa now? Can you see his very words prove Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita true? He says, I am the Lord of everything. This pride, I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect. I am powerful. I am happy. This is the demoniac mentality. Not that God is powerful, right? That he thinks he's in control. He's killing all his enemies. He's going to kill more. I am the richest man. I'm surrounded by aristocratic relatives. He thinks his family is the only family that should survive. You know, this nobility, you know, they had to protect the nobility because that family, they wanted their family to survive like that. There is none so powerful and happy as I am, and I shall perform some sacrifices, giving charity a little bit, and thus I shall rejoice. So these are people who think that if they give a little money, to give a little charity, to do something nice, they'll be worshiped for it. So this is just another form of greed and envy and avarice and frustration and then anger and then madness and then wrath and then the destruction of the earth. So all it would take to end this life as we know it today is one of our so-called monarchs or kings or prime ministers, whatever you want to call them. There are multiple nuclear nations on the planet currently. All they have to do is decide, I'm sick of this. I mean, we've all felt that way before, probably, right? If you think about it, we've all felt like, I can't take it anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm ready to end it all. All they have to do is feel like that and then press the button. And then life as we know it is over on our planet. And all the animals and the trees and the plants all of the living entities, all of the innocent people will all be victimized by this demoniac mentality that we're reading about here in the Divine and Demoniac chapter 16 in the Bhagavad Gita. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So that's a quality of the demon. We're supposed to be educated as devotees. We're supposed to know what is right. We're supposed to know what is wrong. The first axiom of the entire yoga system is the Ashtanga yoga system, and the first two principles are yama and niyama. Yama means to accept everything positive for your spiritual advancement, and niyama means to reject anything that is an obstacle in the way of your self-realization. Now, that's called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means the practice of love. We don't yet love. We don't know how to love. We have lust instead. Lust means I want to control you. I want to enjoy you. And when I'm finished with you, it doesn't matter to me what happens to you. So this lust is the all-devouring enemy of the world, according to Krishna. So our situation is we're immortal souls. And at some point, we're going to have to deal with these issues. Bhagavad Gita in 2:20, Krishna says, Jayate mriyate vakadachin nayam bhavita vanabuya ajo nitya shashvato yang parano nahanyate hanyamane sarire. For the soul, there's never birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is definitely not slain when the body is slain. So whatever lust you have, whatever greed you have, whatever anger you have, controls you. That's your master. Those are the things that drive you to do things that are against Shastric principle, right? So by all means, Krishna says one should give up this lust and this anger and this greed. If you've ever been around a person, we've been talking about this a lot lately, if you've ever been around a person who's envious of you, they're always trying to destroy you because they hate you because you have something they don't have, or they want what you have. And therefore, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it because they're bent on the destruction of the earth because they think the whole world is just meant for this purpose. For me to enjoy you, for me to control you, for me to lord over you, for me to become the Lord, a perfect, powerful, happy person. That is what they're trying to do by competing with Krishna in these stories. So we see the demons come to Krishna to fight Krishna, to kill him. And then what does Kamsa say? He says, then after I've killed Krishna and Balaram, and I've killed their whole families, their brother, I've even killed my own brother-in-law and my sister and their families, then all the thorns will be removed from the earth. So the devotees are thorns to the demon because the devotee reminds them that they're not God. The devotee is in servitude to the Lord. And so the devotee is humble. The devotee is bowing down to the Lord. They don't want that. They want you to bow down to them. They want to control you. They want to own you. And so they become bound up by a network of unlimited desires and a network of illusions that they've created in their own mind, which is concocted ideas of what is good or bad. If you go back in history, you'll see all these different social groups, societies, nations, cultures have risen and fall just like bubbles on the sea of time. And what happens is everyone has a little different idea about how things ought to be done. And so we see that maybe for a while they're victorious, somebody else comes in, erases them from the earth and takes over. This is all demoniac. What we're doing is fighting over stolen goods. We have stolen this from the Lord. We think we own it, and therefore we fight over it. And it says here, thus they become too strongly attached to sense gratification and enjoyment, and they fall down to hell. They fall down to hell. So bewildered by their false ego, pride, lust, anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not only situated in their body, but in the body of all others. And they blaspheme against the real religion, which is Bhagavat Dharma. Bhagavat Dharma means my allegiance goes to the Creator. I'm not the Creator. I am his servant. I'm a part and parcel of the Lord. Prabhupada talks about that over and over again, just like the hand is to the body. So now in the Vedas, a lot of times, you might remember when you were little, if you're doing something really wrong, sometimes your parents would say, go stand in the corner, or go sit down, don't do anything. But that's not the idea. The child should be engaged correctly in devotional service. So in 3:26, Krishna says, Nabudhi Bedam Janayed, Agyanam Karma Sanginam, Joshiet Sarva Karmani, Vidvan Yukta Samachara. That means, let not the wise disrupt the minds of the ignorant who are attached to fruitive action. They should not be encouraged to refrain from work, but to engage in work in the spirit of devotion. So work becomes perfected when it's done for Krishna. Otherwise, work binds one to the material world. Krishna says, Yagyartat karma nonyacha loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma kontaya mukta sangha samachara. If you don't work for Krishna, then you take the karma. It comes on your shoulders. Your birth and death will be rewarded to you, okay? Will be rewarded to you by your own desire. And Krishna confirms that in 4:11 in Bhagavad Gita, where he says, Ye yato mang prapadyante, tangstataiva bhajamyaham, mamavart manuvartante, manushya part sarvasha. All of them, as they surrender to me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So here's the thing. If you want to be a demon, Krishna will help you. He'll make sure you get what you need to become a good demon, if that's what you want to be. Or if you want money, you go to Krishna. If you want a beautiful wife, you go to Krishna. This is called karmakanda. Karmakanda means I just want something in the material world. And in the material world, we know that we lose everything at the time of death. It doesn't belong to you, obviously, or you could have taken it with you, but you cannot. So the idea is that you do your work here for the sake of the Lord. And if you surrender to Krishna, which he has recommended throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll be rewarded accordingly. So surrender to Krishna means to remember Krishna all the time in all things, everywhere, without cessation. This is what the gopis are doing. This is what the cowherd boys are doing. This is what Nanda and Yasoda are doing. Vasudeva, Devaki are all doing. Even Kansa is doing it. Kansa is doing it unfavorably, right? So we want to do it favorably. We're recommended from our spiritual lineage, the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, that we should do our devotional service in selfless devotion, and that's our goal. So the idea is the envious and mischievous, the lowest among men, he perpetually casts them into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life, and attaining repeated birth and death amongst those various species of demoniac life. They can never approach me. Krishna says that. And in Bhagavad Gita, he says in 7:25, he says, Naham prakasha sarvasha yoga maya samambritaha mudho yam nibijananti loko mam ajam avyayam. Now, mudho means those persons who are grossly foolish and unintelligent. So he says, I'm never manifest to those foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my eternal creative potency, Yoga Maya. And so the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. So these three gates to hell, lust, anger, and greed, every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So this is the idea. We're watching the degradation of Kamsa. We're watching the pride just before the fall. No, I'll kill them all. Don't worry. I can make it happen. I'll take Krishna and Balaram, kill them. I'll kill all their family. I'll kill everybody. Wait and see what happens. So Ranga wants to go to text 16 and look at the purport. So if you'll join us there at text 16. Let me find it real quick. Here we go. Text 16. So after Arista had been killed by Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Narada Muni went to speak to King Kamsa. That powerful sage of godly vision addressed the king as follows. So this is the second time, and Raghu, you mentioned that. He's back again. So this is the second time, and he's setting up the stage for the death of King Kamsa. So the term Deva Darsana can be understood in many ways, all of which are consistent with the context purport of this narration. Deva means God, Darsana means seeing or an audience with a great personality. So Narada Muni is Deva Darsana. He brought his person to stand there in front of Kamsa, and he said, well, it says Deva Darsana, a name for Narada Muni, indicates that Narada has attained the perfection of seeing God, that getting Narada's audience is as good as getting God's audience, which I think is pretty cool, because the spiritual master is considered to be the transparent via medium to the spiritual world. So if you want to see Krishna, you won't see Krishna directly, because we've left here. We're in the separated energies, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. We're living in this separated energies from God. And therefore you can't see him directly, but you can see him in the water, you can see him in the wisdom, you can see him in the intelligence of man, you can see him in the sun and the moon and the light. All these things Krishna's there for us to see. He's mentioned that in the opulence of the absolute in this chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. Anybody can read and find that and then see God in all things. Also, the Sankhya philosophy is mentioned, the philosophy of Kapila, who was Shaktavesh incarnation of God, who came to the earth to study everything and find God in everything. Under every stone we look, under every leaf we find God. And that's the idea of that philosophy. So when he comes, he reveals something of the richness of this Srimad Bhagavatam, and he explains what these meanings are. So what was it particularly in this one you wanted to go over, Ranga? Is there anything in here in particular?
Yes, reading the prayers here of the conversation between Krishna and the gopis.
Okay, so what do you got? Where's that at?
Where the gopis are insisting that Krishna has to atone for killing a a bull, a
Can you
cow.
read that?
Yes, I can read them quickly.
Okay.
The innocent and young gopis said, "O Krishna, don't touch us now, O killer of a bull. Alas, even though Arista was a terrible demon, still he was a male cow. So you will have to undergo an atonement, just as Lord Indra did after killing Vritrasura. But how can you purify yourself without going to the trouble of visiting every single holy place in the three worlds?" That means he'd have to leave them, so they don't want that, do they?
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Krishna replied, "Why should I have to wander throughout the entire universe? I will at once bring all the countless pilgrimage places here and take my bath in them. Just watch." With this, Lord Mukunda struck his heel on the ground. Then he said, "This is the water of the Bhagavati river, coming from the Patala region. Now, O holy places, all of you, please come here." When the Supreme Lord had spoken these words, all the holy places went there and appeared before him. Krishna then addressed the gopis as follows: "See all the holy places." But the gopis replied, "We don't see them as you describe." Those best of the holy places, joining their palms in supplication, spoke up, "I am the salt ocean. I am the ocean of milk. I am the Amara de Kika. I am the river Shona. I am the Sindhu. I am the Tamrapani. I am the holy place of Pushkara. I am the river Saraswati. and we are the Godavari, Yamuna, and Reva rivers, and the confluence of rivers at Prayag. Just see our waters. After purifying himself by bathing, Lord Hari became quite arrogant and said, I have produced a pond containing all the various holy places, whereas you gopis must never have executed any religious duties on this earth for the pleasure of Lord Brahma. Then Srimati Radharani addressed her girlfriends as follows: I must create an even more beautiful pond, so go to work. Having heard these words, the gopis saw that Aristosaurus' hooves had dug a shallow ditch just west of Sri Krishna's pond. At that nearby spot, all the gopis began digging up lumps of soft mud with their hands, and in this way a divine pond manifested in the short span of an hour. Krishna was astonished to see the lake they produced. He said, Go ahead, lotus-eyed one. You and your companions should fill this pond with water from mine. But Radha replied, No, 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 no. This is impossible, since the water of your pond is contaminated by your terrible sin of killing a cow.
Yeah.
I will have my countless gopi companions, bring the pure water of the Manasa Ganga here in billions of pots. In this way, I will fill this lake with my own water and thus make its renown unequaled in the entire world. Lord Krishna then gestured to a heavenly personality who was an intimate associate of all the holy places. Suddenly, that person rose up out of Krishna's pond and bowed down to the daughter of Sri Vrishabhanu, Radharani. Then, with palms joined and tears pouring from his eyes, he began praying to her in devotion. O goddess, even Lord Brahma himself, the knower of all scriptures, cannot understand your glories, nor can Lord Shiva or Lakshmi. Only Krishna, the supreme goal of all human endeavor, can understand them. And thus he feels obliged to personally make sure that you can wash away your perspiration when you are fatigued. He is always anointing your lotus feet with nectarian charu and yavaka and decorating them with ankle bells. And he rejoices and feels most fortunate simply by satisfying the tips of the toes of your lotus feet. On his order, we have immediately come here to live in this most exalted pond, which he created by one stroke of his heel. But only if you now feel satisfied with us and bestow upon us your merciful glance will the tree of our desire bear fruit. Hearing this prayer spoken by the representative of the full assembly of holy places, Sri Radha was pleased and said, So kindly tell me your desire. They then told her plainly, Our lives would be successful if we could come to your pond. That is the benediction we desire. Glancing at her beloved from the corner of her eyes, the daughter of the Shabanu replied with a smile, Please come. Her gopi companions all agreed with her decision and became immersed in the ocean of happiness. Indeed, the beauty of all creatures, both mobile and stationary, was enhanced. Thus, gaining the grace of Srimati Radharani, the holy rivers and lakes in Sri Krishna's Kund forcibly broke through its boundary walls and swiftly filled Radhakund with their waters. Lord Hari then said, My dear Radha, may this pond of yours become even more world-renowned than mine. I will always come here to bathe and to enjoy my water pastimes. Indeed, this lake is as dear to me as you. Radha replied, I will come to bathe in your pond as well, even though you may kill hundreds of Aristos demons here. In the future, anyone who has intense devotion for this lake, which is on the spot where you chastise Aristasura, and who bathes or resides here, is sure to become very dear to me. That night, Lord Krishna initiated a rasa dance at Radhakund, generating a torrent of the greatest mood of splendorous pleasure. Sri Krishna resembled a cloud, and Srimati Radharani a brilliant flash of lightning, filling the sky with abundant beauty. In this way, their divine glories permeated the expanse of the three worlds. As a final note, it should be mentioned that Narada Muni, being a great sage, understood that the killing of Arista more or less concluded the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Therefore, Narada, anxious to facilitate the transferal of Krishna's pastimes to Mathura, approached Kamsa and addressed him as follows. So, the appearance of Radhakund and Shamakund is next month. So we haven't got long, and they'll be appearing. Isn't that wonderful?
I love that. Thank you so much for that. That's a wonderful purport, and that whole story is in Srimad Bhagavatam as well. So, it's just at a different place in the Bhagavatam. So, but you are right. We will be worshiping those two kundas very soon, and we've been talking about the forest of Vrindavan at Vrindavan Forest. And we just went just discussed Kamudavan Forest. So Kamudavan Forest, there was a ghat there too, Kamuda Ghat, which is where the night blooming lotuses bloomed. Very, very beautiful. And Radha and Krishna would go there also and perform their water sports. It was called Jala Vilasa. So they went there, splashed around, had a big time. Now, I see Vamsi Vilas, as a matter of fact, here. I don't know if he can hear us or not. I thought he was in India. There he is. Hey,
yes,
Bob.
Prabhuji, I came back last night.
Oh, wow. We're honored to have you with us today. That's wonderful. Could you give us a little taste of your experience? We'd love to hear what it was like.
Yes, Prabhuji, it was very nice to go to Jagannath Puri. And the first night, I reached there at 10 p.m. and I thought I'll go run and take darshan, but the temple closed at 11. Usually it closed at 1 a.m. is what I hear. So I thought maybe the Lord wants me to go in the morning. So, and also I had made a sankalpa that I'll finish Bhakti Purushottam Swami's book on all the pastimes of Jagannath. So I'd only reached halfway. So that night I sat and read and finished everything, and I read in the morning. And thankfully I got darshan then. It was so amazing. The deities are really big compared to what we see in our ISKCON temples. And Jagannath is like double or triple the size of Baldev. We see Jagannath and Balram in the same size in our temples, and Subhadrama is slightly smaller, but the proportions are different in Jagannath Puri. And I hear there's separate rath for each of them when there's a real Rath Yatra. So it makes sense. I know Jagannath has the biggest rath with so many wheels, and yeah, he is really big, so that's why he needs his own big chariot. That's what I found out by. So there's a big crowd, and then by the time you reach the inner chambers, there's everybody pushing and crushing everybody. But still, seeing the Lord is so cooling. The mood of the pujaris is slightly different there. They're trying to, ask for more Lakshmi every time for little things. So you want to stand and watch? Give me 1,000 rupees and things like that. So, but of course, seeing the Lord, you don't worry about those little things. You just taking darshan of the Lord, and it was so amazing, the architecture of the temple and all the rituals that is there. And then you can see Mother Lakshmi. She has a temple, and then there's Mother Parvati who has a temple. And from the book, I understand that it's because of Mother Parvati that we get a lot of food in Jagannath Puri, because she didn't get the prasadam, and she went and asked that she and the whole world needs to get prasadam. That's why the Lord is fed like 56 different dishes 60 times a day or something. So there's always a lot of prasadam there. You go to, there's called Anand Bazaar, where you go there, and there's all kind of prasadam. You got to just buy that, and I bought a little bit from there that would not get spoiled. So hopefully I'll come for the Sunday Jagannath Rath Yatra at Little Rock, and I'll give it to all of you. Yeah.
What a great
experience.
That's a great experience. That's wonderful. Well, I have a home program I have to do, so I won't be there, but Rangavati will be there and Bhavananda will be there. So leave a little crumb for Gayatri, if you don't mind. I appreciate that.
Of course.
That's wonderful. Yeah, in Jagannath Temple in Huntsville, you haven't been there, but they have deities that are almost that exact same size. As a matter of fact, the Brahman is very small standing before the Jagannath deity, but they're smaller than the Jagannath deities because they're the largest ones. They won't allow any other Jagannath deity to be made for any reason. So they're just a little bit smaller at the Jagannath Temple down in Huntsville, Alabama. But that's very, very nice that you saw those big deities, because at our ISKCON temples, the deities are not very big. And
it's very practical. But there are other little temples around the area that I visited just before I came. There's a place called Tota Gopinath, where the Lord sat down for Gadadhar Pandit, because he was getting old. And because I went during the Mangalarati time, they let me see. Otherwise, they don't let anybody see. So you got to pay 50 rupees and get in. And then they remove the dhoti, and you see the Lord is in his yogic pose, like a lotus pose, like the sole of his feet is facing upwards. Right. I've never seen any deity like that, a Gopinath deity like that, and that was really amazing to see. Tota Gopinath, and then there is Gambhira. There are so many Gaudiya Vaishnava little temples, which has so much history to it, and it was so nice to visit that. And I was very, very happy that I was also able to go to Shirchor Gopinath. This is the Lord who stole the kheer and kept it behind so that Madhavendra Puri could sample it. So this is like 5 hours away from Jagannath Puri, but somehow I could make it because it was a place where this amazing pastime happened. So I went there and saw the Lord there as well, and it was amazing. So
that's an amazing story. I'm glad you went. I mean, how long did you stay? You've been there for what?
I was just there 2 days, but I somehow, by the Lord's mercy, could make the best use of my time there.
You really did.
So
that's great, and you're getting ready to experience another one in Little Rock this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Vamsi, we're so glad you're back, and thanks for bringing that to us tonight. We want more and more and more of that nectar, okay? And bring a little bit of that triple Maha Prasad you got, because we could use a little.
Yeah.
Well, very good, everybody. Right now it's 8 o'clock, so we're trying to stay within the hour. So if there's any other questions, ask them now, or any other comments, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll end this class for tonight. And thank you again, Vamsi, for such nice narration. That was very, very good. We want to, maybe what we'll do is we'll get you to do a whole little series, if you don't mind. Maybe I get Rangavati. I know what Rangavati is doing, all these wonderful documentaries. We should actually get Vamsi to do one of those with his trip. That'd be very nice, Rangavati. What do you think? Let's do that.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be nice.
All right.
Nice. He has these wonderful trips to India.
We don't get to go, so we're going through your we're surrogate to you. So definitely, we appreciate you very much. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming again tonight, and we're going to continue with this wonderful reading of the Bhagavatam. I'll leave you with this verse. It's 10:10 in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, "Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam jainamam upayanti te." To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So the idea here is let's us develop our devotional love like we're seeing all these great devotees in the Srimad Bhagavatam manifest. Let's don't get caught up just in the ceremony. Let's don't lose the sight of the, as they say, the forest for the trees. So let's keep our goal of Bhagavad Dharma, absolute pure love and devotion for the Lord as the center of our life. And at the time of death, we'll remember Krishna and we'll go home to Krishna. Because whatever you love, that's what you'll remember. So always think in terms of doing like Krishna is saying in this verse in 10:10 in the Bhagavad Gita. So repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much. I'm blessed to have your association. Please pray for Gayatri Dasa. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time, okay? Haribo!
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Haribo.